Welcome back to another episode of American Gravy. This episode is special though. It is a holiday episode featuring prime rib.
The prime rib. See, don't overthink it. Everybody gets so nervous this time of year, but I will be honest, you've been given a lot of bad advice over the decades, and we're gonna show you the foolproof way to cook prime rib. It's gonna be better than Lowry's. It's gonna be better than any restaurant that you've ever been to. And if you know how to work a stove and a thermometer and throw an oven in there, then you're gonna nail the best prime rib you've ever had in your entire life. Prime rib is the name of the dish, but prime also is the name of a grading, or the top of a grading system that the USDA uses to grade meat. The way in which they grade meat is that they actually measure the marbling inside the muscle of the meat. So the higher the marbling, the higher the grade. Now, prime rib, you might use a select or a cutter canner grade prime rib. The way in which they grade it, it goes prime, choice. Within choice, there's top choice, middle choice, low choice, and then standard, select, commercial, whatever, all the way down the line to cutter canner. So the prime rib is the dish, and that's what we're gonna be showing you today. Now, you don't have to buy prime grade. You know, I think just a good standard choice grade prime rib is a better option. It's less expensive, and when you cook it properly, it's gonna be just as spoon tender. So we're using today, what I did was, and here's a little secret tip, is go to a restaurant wholesale supply store, specifically Restaurant Depot or Jetro Foods, and there's other restaurant wholesale supply stores. 99% of them allow you to go in and shop with a customer card the day of. You don't need a wholesaler, distributor, or business license. You can just go in and buy it. What we did was we bought 4 whole rib sections, and I want to say it was like $14.99 a pound, and then we just broke it down ourselves. What's great about that is you get a lot of beef scraps as you break it down that you can use to make your jus, right? Or au jus, which translates to with juice. The other thing you don't want is you don't want like pre-trimmed prime rib, because you're just paying for them to cut the meat for you. If you want a little bit less fat on there, you can trim it yourself. Now, to the actual rib itself, do you want bone in or boneless? It's whatever you want. The reason I suggest you use bone in is because what the bone actually does is that the bone doesn't transfer any flavor. It insulates a little bit of the heat, and it keeps the meat even when it cooks. You see, so this one has the bone out. So it ripped the bone out. So as you can see, you've got kind of thin sections here, you got fatter sections. This is the lifter cap right there, also known as the spinalis dorsi. And this is the cap over the prime rib that you can theoretically rip off and cook separately. It's that delicious, fatty, marbled bite of meat that goes on the top strip.
I feel like you always talk about this.
I always
That's
talk
like
about the
his
spinalis.
favorite, yeah.
It's my favorite cut of meat,
Yes.
right? So this is the eye of the rib right here, right? Like this is the heart of it. Almost looks more like a strip steak. Now this was a top choice graded meat, and you can see there's not a ton of marbling in here. So it's a very, in my opinion, subjective grading process, because if you asked me, I would say that this was more select, but they told me it was choice, so I took their word for it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now though, is because you have this thin side and this fat side, this will cook quicker. I do wanna tie it, okay? And you can have the butcher do this if it's boneless. You wanna tie it so that it cooks more evenly. If it's bone in, then you don't necessarily need to tie it. Now, how do we tie it? You can tie meat or you can truss meat. What I learned when I was going through my butcher kind of training or apprenticeship was that real men tie, they don't truss. You truss a chicken, but you tie meat. So the key is you just get yourself some twine, get yourself some food grade string, if you will. You take 2 fingers, you rope it over, all right? Now watch what I do here. I wrap it all the way around and I pull it like this. What that allows you to do then is just one-handed kind of tighten it, right? There's probably some Boy Scout name for this knot.
I was gonna say this is like Boy Scout knot tying.
Yeah, Boy Scout knot tying, right?
Yeah, so you're just doing what, like 3 or 4?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do 3 or 4. Tie it, tighten it. See how I'm pulling up this flap of meat here? Making it all even, right? Because we're looking for an even shape on this as I tie it. That's the whole purpose of tying it, because then you're gonna get an even cook. Do one more over here. So there you go, right? So now it's even, it's kind of the same shape. By the way, this is probably 5 pounds.
Looks like, yeah.
Now the reason that's important is because how much do I buy? When you're buying your prime rib, what I usually calculate, the math is 3/4 pound per person if it's boneless, and 1.5 pounds per person if it's bone in. You can always go more, but definitely don't go less. So stage 1 was the buying process. How do we buy it? Do we tie it? How do we buy it? Do we tie it? Tie it and buy it. Tie it, buy it, rye it, and sty it.
Will there ever be like, you know, if somebody buys this, would it there ever be a point in which they can buy it even, or was it always, you always have to tie it pretty much?
No, you don't have to tie it. You don't have to. It's not necessary. It just gives you a more even bite. So when it's thinner on one side, which is what I tied around and I wrapped to this piece of the prime rib, then that thin piece is going to overcook.
Well, I understand that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but you have the butcher tie it. The thing is, have the butcher tie it, and they should be doing it this time of year anyway. Develop a relationship with your butcher. Now, this is the most important step. If there's anything that you remember to do with your prime rib, it is this stage right now, 24 to 48 hours before you cook it, you've got to pre-salt it. So the thicker the cut, the more you can salt it, but I season it as if I'm like a very liberal salt on the prime rib. So this is perfect the way in which you're doing it, but get it salted all over. Let me explain to you why the salt is so important, okay? And I repeat, and there's different names for this. Some people call it a dry brine. Some people say this is diffusion. The reality is it's just the salt doing the work. The salt is the chef here. Salt is the only chemical that can penetrate meat. And by chemical, I mean spice or seasoning. It's the only thing, I repeat, that can penetrate the meat. Seasonings cannot penetrate meat. It is impossible. It only flavors the exterior of meat. So there is absolutely no reason at this stage of the game to hit it with anything except salt. Garlic, pepper, mustard, butter, none of that matters right now. It's just the pre-salt. So yeah, salt it all over, go crazy.
Are you gonna flip it?
Yeah. So the salting process here, what this is doing is that it's denaturing the proteins in the meat. And by denaturing the proteins in the meat, the salt goes in the meat, right? And it breaks up those protein coils. Think of them as literally spring coils. It breaks those up. And then when it does that, that allows the protein to actually retain more moisture. So for the first 2 to 4 hours after you salt it, you're gonna see moisture bead to the surface of the meat. Then that salt is gonna take the moisture back into the meat, right? And it's just on this closed loop system of the moisture or the salt and the moisture going in the meat, out of the meat, in the meat, out of the meat. And every time it does that, the salt is penetrating the inside of the meat, it's seasoning it, it's breaking down the protein strands. And the most important thing that I need to tell you is that by breaking down and denaturing those protein strands, it is allowing the protein to retain more moisture through the cooking process. That is the most important step in this prime rib process.
Can you over salt at this stage or no?
Nah, I mean, you can't really over salt.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if this was a thin cut of meat, because this process is applied to all different cuts of meat, and actually this roast procedure is applied to any roast, so not just prime rib. We're talking prime rib because that's obviously a holiday classic, but no, you can't over salt it. But if it was an individual steak, you could, because then it would be way too salty on both sides because there's a much higher salt to meat ratio.
All right.
Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, we're gonna put it on a sheet pan with a rack, right? So that there's air underneath there. And we're gonna put it into a refrigerator for 24 to 48 hours. We'll do 24 hours because Lauren and I are gonna stand here in these exact same outfits and we're gonna wait so that we can document this process for you. This is what we're here for you. But do we do it covered or uncovered?
Uncovered.
Uncovered is correct. The reason we do it uncovered is we actually want to dry the exterior a little bit. That drying of the exterior creates a pellicle, which is where you dry out the exterior of the meat, and that's going to allow for a quicker, better browning on the meat, more Maillard browning. So it's almost a little bit of a dry age that we're also gonna do in the refrigerator right now, while that meat dries out as it sits in the refrigerator and the fan blows air over it. All right, now our baby's going into the refrigerator.
We are back 24 hours later.
Been standing here.
I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. My feet hurt.
I've been standing here sleeping. Okay, 24 hours, the salt has done its work. The salt has treated this like it's a So what we're gonna do now is we got an oven going at 225 degrees. When I trimmed the roast, I just rendered out a bunch of beef scraps to get some of the beef fat, and I cooled it, and I have it right here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this beef fat, okay, and I'm gonna rub it. Now I don't need a ton of fat, right? Because it's ultimately gonna run off. We're just kind of insulating it a little bit. And the fat's not really gonna do much other than just, once again,
You're really working that piece of meat.
Yeah.
I don't know, there you go. The other one was, I was a little concerned. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So we're massaging the meat, spanking the meat, rubbing down the meat.
Keep going. Any more euphemisms?
No.
The fat is just keeping the exterior from drying too much, right?
Got
So, because we're gonna throw it in a 225 degree oven and we are just gonna slow cook the heck out of this. Now, a lot of people at this stage, they'll add these butter rubs on there, these garlic rubs, spices, you name it. I mean, that's great if you want to develop this crust, but here's the thing. You're gonna take it up to a really high temperature at the end, so whatever you put on there right now is gonna burn. None of that flavor can penetrate the meat. I hope I made that point clear in the very beginning. The flavor cannot penetrate the meat, so there's really no reason in adding that flavor to it right now, because it does nothing for it other than perhaps risk burning. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this roast and we're gonna throw it into a 225-degree oven, and we are going to bake it until it hits 115 degrees internally. We're gonna use a food grade thermometer on that, not a rectal thermometer. And that's it, and then we'll stand here and wait. Now people have asked me, hey, timing wise, like I might not have the stove space or I might not have the ability, I'm transporting the prime rib to a friend's house, to a daughter's house, to a husband's house, wherever. Why would they be going to a husband's house? I don't know. You get the point that I'm making. So here's the cool thing about doing this with the prime rib. You can do this slow roasting process and then pull your prime rib and let it sit for like 4 or 5 hours. That actually lets the meat and the proteins and the juices all settle, and then blast it in the oven before you serve it, because what you're doing is that you're browning the exterior, which is establishing that beautiful flavor on the exterior. While the prime rib is resting, and before we blast it, we're gonna rub it down with this real simple compound butter. I'm just gonna take a half a stick of butter, right? And this is butter that's at room temperature. I've seen a lot of people post recipes for these compound butters or these kind of like prime rib finishes, and they use a ton of butter, right? And they cake it, half an inch of butter and compound butter on top of the prime rib with all the rest of the flavors. There's no reason to do that. The fat is just going to drip off. I'm only using the butter in this case as an adhesive to get the other flavors to stick to the exterior of the meat. So that's why I'm not using that much butter in this case. I've got fresh thyme, and I got fresh chives that I'm gonna add in here.
How much mustard?
A tablespoon of mustard, and then I'm gonna just do 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. I'm gonna add a little bit of miso, because miso crazy. So this is just kind of a miso broth concentrate. If you're looking for a good seasoning, this is a great Christmas gift. I love Dad's seasoning. This is just the salt, pepper, garlic mix.
How much do I use that?
This is, as the kids say, bussin'. So
but like really, I use that on everything.
This, yeah. I'm not like a huge spice blend fan, but this Dad's seasoning is the best of the best.
They're doing something right over there. Okay, so this is all done. Are we gonna stick it in the fridge?
We're gonna leave that, just put that off to the side. The prime rib's been in the oven for now about 3 or 4 hours. Let's check the temp on our prime rib. See if it's...
And what does it have to be? Like between 1 and 1 is ideal?
Between like 115 to 120 if you're looking for rare. Okay, so we're just about there. So now I'm gonna pull this. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Wait, actually it's not beautiful, it's ugly, right?
It is kind of ugly.
It's ugly at this stage, okay? Oh, that's burning hot. That's burning hot.
Why are you doing that? Use the spoon.
Because I have hands of steel. I'm gonna blast it up to 500 degrees. I'm gonna blast my oven to 500 degrees.
Okay, this has been resting now for what, 20 minutes or so?
Yeah.
So 20 minutes, we're gonna stick it into the 500-degree oven for how long? This is your area.
Yeah, well, we're gonna blast it until it's beautiful and brown on the exterior. Because we let it rest for a minute, it's not necessarily gonna pull that much carryover heat into the temperature danger zone. And by that, I mean past medium rare. We want this one more rare to mid rare, right? So that's how we like to eat it. So around 120 to 130 range, 125 being the sweet spot. So then you just temp it, right? Like pull it up to temp. If you wanna take this to 135 and you like it more medium well, then just let it roll until that point. But pull it later too. So like if you want your prime rib medium well, pull it at 120, 125, and then the carryover cooking is gonna take it all the way up there before you blast it. So when I was breaking down the rib, I took a bunch of beef scraps, I took a bunch of the fat that we had, and first I rendered that so I could get some of the fat, and then I strained that from the fat. Then I took what was left over after I rendered it, and I threw it in a pot, I browned it a little bit more, and I threw some carrots in there, some onion. Actually, let's throw some herbs in there right now.
Oh. We're gonna throw more.
Like carrots, onions, celery, garlic, like all your veggie scraps to flavor the juice that you're gonna use for your...
Can I just throw this whole thing?
Yeah, throw it all in there. Throw the stems in there too. No sticks, no stems that you don't need. So I have this kind of, and it's ugly, so you don't need to look at it. But
don't look at it.
I have almost this witch's brew going right now. I like the flavor of the fat. Most of this is meat scraps, but I actually also like the flavor of the fat, because what I'm gonna do, I don't love the watery jus that you get when they pour it on the prime rib at the end. And in most restaurants, just so you know, that's just like a salted beef base that they add water to, so it's not very authentic. I'm gonna take this one and I'm just gonna add a little bit of cornstarch at the end so it has some viscosity and mouthfeel.
Is it
so
like a demi-glace almost?
Yeah.
Like right before, like
Yeah,
not too
yeah.
thick?
Yeah, like a gloss.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, definitely like a gloss. So we've got that simmering right there, and that's where you can have fun with the flavor. Add Worcestershire, miso, soy sauce, mustard, anything in there that really fits your liking.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Whoa.
Look at that. Beautiful. We even got to see a little bit of the caramelization on the exterior, but that's good. That's the crispy bark we want. Now, what I like to do is right when it comes out, I like to hit it with
some chives.
Hit it with some chives.
Oh, look at that.
You can even take a little bit more of your butter on there. Oh, yeah.
And then how long are we resting this for?
We're gonna let this rest now for probably 20 minutes. This is the part where I hit it with all the seasoning at the end. Like, I don't like when the black pepper burns. I like it to sit at the very end. Whoosh. Whoosh. Oh, look at that. Just the way that I like it. Nice and rare. Now we're talking.